somebody's camera just as soon as I said it, they're like, nope, we're not doing that. All right, guys, welcome to June's Workforce Lunch and Learn. I am going to go ahead and share my screen with you today. We do have, of course, our PowerPoint as we typically do. So today's itinerary is going to be, I will just kind of do a welcome for you guys, a background of what we are doing or what our goals are with the workforce department at the Council's Chamber, and where we are sitting with some of those goals. Jude Camp is on with us today. He's our CEO and president. He will give you kind of an update of some chamber programs. He'll pass that back over to me, and we'll get a little bit deeper into maybe some of the programs that we have available that we would love for you guys to participate in, or that might be a resource for you. And then we'll hear from our monthly sponsor, which is Children's Square today. And as I said, she does have a great presentation prepared for you guys that I know that you're going to enjoy. And then hopefully we will hear from ACT Work Keys for anybody that missed earlier. Ed is going to be the guest speaker, and he found out that there was a scheduled power outage at his property today until oh, there's Ed now trying to get in till 11. So we are all set. Ed's power must be back on, and he's logging on with us. And we will close our workforce lunch and learn with a Q&A. So if you have any questions for anybody, that would be the great time to ask that. If there's any information that you want from them, let me know, and I can get that from them and get that sent over to you, as well as their contact information. So just a little background about how we got here and what we are working to kind of remedy. So our workforce challenges, in 2018, a group of HR managers got together and they kind of went over and did some focus groups and did some research to come up with what was happening in our area that was affecting our workforce, and what can we do to try to help that problem, help those challenges. And so what they discovered is they wanted to reduce the aggregated employee turnover to 10%. At the current time, it was sitting around 33%. They wanted to increase the percent of our labor pool to 80%. Currently, we were sitting at 66%. We wanted to increase brain gain. So what they discovered is that less than 40% of our workforce had any continued education beyond high school. So what can we do to increase that? And then we wanted to increase the percentage of fully funded apprenticeship programs through our employers and through our businesses locally to 50%. At the current time, it was less than 10%. So that same group kind of came up with what they call the workforce ecosystem. And some of the first programs or initiatives that they wanted to put in place to start to address these challenges would be our lunch and learns that we have here. So these lunch and learns are really intended to make sure that we are giving you guys either tools, resources, professional developments, or a kind of roundtable setting where you can learn from your colleagues about what they're doing to kind of recruit and retain their workforce. They also wanted to create some professional development series, which we have had, and we will talk about a new one coming up in September, and that will be our next level leadership. I'll dive into that a little bit more later on the call. We also wanted to become a work-ready community. And so if you guys are not familiar with being a work-ready community, that is provided through ACT. And it is a part of their National Career Readiness certifications. And our high schools actually provide those for free of charge, as does Iowa Works, to any resident in our community. So we're very fortunate in that matter. And the National Career Readiness certification really allows you to hire the right candidate for the right position out the gate, kind of helping you reduce that turnover that you might be experiencing. And that today we actually have a guest speaker from ACT here to talk with you about what Work Keys is and how you can best use that platform. We also wanted to create a best places to work program. So an employee satisfaction survey went out. It is our unbelievable workplaces. We did conduct our first year and had 16 awarded businesses. So we're very excited about that. Applications will become available in December for our 2022 program. And those surveys will go out in January. So we do have a specific website for that, which is unbelievableworkplacescb.com. If you're interested in learning any more about that, please go ahead and jump on that, check that out. And then we will share that registration form with you when it is available in December. And then lastly, we wanted to really promote and be an advocate for the Omaha Grow program, which really does a workplace navigator system. They will put a navigator right in your business. That way, if any of your workers have issues happening in their personal life, they have somebody they can go to at work to help them resolve those problems, so that it doesn't affect them while they're at work. It really does just show that you have that value in that person, and that you care about them at work and at home. or working with Bridges on Property, which has kind of a similar program where they really have navigators that can help your workers navigate through any life challenges that they have. So that was our ecosystem, and I'll give you some updates on where we are with those, including some additional programs that we have. But next, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Drew Camp so he can give you some updates on the chamber.
Thanks, Alicia, and thank you everyone for being with us here today for the last virtual workforce collaborative call. It's been great getting people together, and it's going to be even better when we're able to do these things in person while offering a hybrid option as well to those who may not be in the area, to give them an opportunity to attend as well. We want to be flexible and accommodating in that regard. But as far as some of the things that are going on here at the Council Bluffs Area Chamber of Commerce, the first thing that I wanted to note is, just as everyone's talking about, and some are, some aren't, some have hybrid and different models, but we're back in the office now. We do have remote work options offered for each of the employees for up to 2 days a week, as long as there's 3 people, which is half of our staff, in the office at any given time. And we're excited to be able to offer that flexibility. I think that's really important, as do, I'm sure, all of you, as we look at kind of moving back in from the pandemic and what we need to be doing to create a good environment and a good culture for our employees. A few things that I really want to touch on just really quick is that we are, and I don't ever want to take Alicia's thunder because she's the one that carries the weight on these things. You know, she's doing a really good job with these leadership programs for both the new and emerging, and then the more established leaders. We look forward to having those continue to materialize later in the year. The upskilling program is something we're really excited about, as well as the return to work program. We both think those are both really important. And I'll, like I said, let Alicia speak more to those because she's the boots on the ground for those, and I would never steal her thunder because those are her babies. But then another thing that I want to touch on too, just as far as some other things that we're working on, more on the DE&I side of things, is, you know, we've continued to grow our Executive Women's Partnership and our Women Inspiring Women events over this last 6 months since the start of the new calendar year. And it's been really exciting and a good opportunity for 2 of our staff members to help move the ball in that regard. Just as, you know, Alicia does as well within a lot of the efforts she's doing with workforce. But with Executive Women's Partnership, we kicked off our first event back in May with Debbie Durham, who's the State Director of Economic Development. She's a very dynamic female leader here in the state. And we're going to have another event in July with that group. And we're really excited to continue to see applications come in for that. You do have to pay to be part of it, skin in the game kind of concept, to be part of that Executive Women's Partnership. And we're seeing a lot of good interactions with the people who are on the steering committee and on the executive committee, and now growing that out to some of the qualified community members that fit the parameters of the program. With regards to the Women Inspiring Women events, the next event we have coming up is July 15th. And they're actually going to be talking more about, the first event was work-life balance, and that was back in April. And this one is going to be more focused on how you can lift up other women leaders and women in general around you. So that's something I'm really excited about, to see how that pans out, and how the attendance and just how the impact that has, because that's obviously such an important piece, regardless of gender identity or whatever it may be, or whatever status you may hold as an individual. It's just really important that we're lifting people up. This will obviously focus on women inspiring women, but I just think that's a really, really important thing for us as leaders in the business community and just chamber and nonprofit and other community, to make sure that we're looking at doing those things. Another thing that I just wanted to touch on as far as your events go, as we've headed back into the office, we've really let the sponsors or hosts decide what they want to do with in-person versus virtual. Some cases we can't do hybrid. It's just not an option for some things, as you can imagine. There's certain events where it's a networking event. You can't exactly be carrying a phone around and inserting yourself in people's conversations. So we're not doing hybrids for all events. We're trying to do hybrids for every event that we can, to make sure that we're inclusive and getting as many people as we can involved in those events, like that Women Inspiring Women event. But we also are making it optional for masks. Obviously there is the encouragement that if you're not vaccinated, you do need to probably take a little bit different steps for those that aren't. But what we're doing is that we're saying that, it's a personal choice at this point, as to if you wear them or if you don't wear them. We're not going to pressure you one way or the other. We want them to feel comfortable regardless of which stance they take on that. And then as far as policy goes, public policy and politics, we're really looking at the state session just ended back in the middle of May, more so the end of May, I believe it was the 26th. But we had a lot of good things happen, whether it was childcare bills. It's by no means the be all end all. There's still a lot that needs to be done on that front, on the childcare front, that is. There was some workforce housing progress that was made. Mental health was something they shifted a lot of funding towards that. There's a lot of our tax interests inserted into that with the inheritance tax, the tax triggers to really push personal income tax um, reforms that were passed in 2018 into effect next year. Some things we were really happy about. We also killed some bills like big tech censorship, which, as you can imagine, with the Google's presence here in the state, as well as others throughout Google here in Council Bluffs, as well as others throughout the state, that was really, really important. And we actually took a really uh, boisterous response in opposition to that. Some people did not because of where the bill was coming from and some of the implications that carried. But we took the risk, I guess you could say, in doing that because we wanted to make sure we were there and supporting Google, and we have no qualms doing that, and we're going to continue to do that going forward. There was also another bill on tax increment financing, and that was something we were really happy to see them not be able to do anything with. That was a very big positive for us as business organizations and just cities and others that utilize that as an attractive piece, especially as we compete with people right across the river in Omaha for projects on so many different cases. But then also at the federal level is for policy. There's, as you know, there's a ton of stuff going on right now. But really, the things we're focusing on is trying to be the great convener, I guess you could say, of all the different parties that need to be involved in how we're going to spend these American Rescue Plan funds. If you don't know, the city of Council Bluffs got just over $24 million. The county got just over $18 million. That's over $42 million that we need to make sure that we're having good conversations about. Obviously, they have some things in mind for some of those funds already, and that's their right, obviously. But we also want to make sure that we're having conversations that if we're going to talk about where should we be extending infrastructure, things we can do for community betterment, placemaking, those are things where us and our other partner organizations most definitely need to be at the table to make sure we're doing that in the most effective way possible. So we're really trying to make sure that's done. And then also, as we continue to look at potential investment in infrastructure, they continue to bicker about that out in DC, but we just hope that something will move forward because we know that that'll provide some critical needs for us here. Because if you're not familiar with Council Bluffs, I know most of you are, but if you are from out of the area, I mean, we have the river, we have rail, we have the intersection of multiple interstates. There's a lot of things as far as infrastructure goes that we need to be concerned about. So we continue to have those conversations as well. The last few things I'll touch on is business retention expansion visits. So important that we're getting out and visiting with our existing industries. Just as Alicia is trying to get out and visit with HR staff at the talent surveys, myself, Paula Hazelwood, and a few of our other partners, we're always touching base with kind of the C-suite of our primary employers and those who really have a lot of capital investment and job creation stake here in the community. And that's something we do annually, and we're starting to ramp that up now so we can have it phased down here in about September and get the information to the state that they need. So that's something we're really excited about. And it's so important to point to those BR&E visits because when you look at both workforce and policy, a ton of things are dictated by those meetings that you have, confidential, obviously, meetings that you have with individuals to talk about some of the issues that they're dealing with and how we can best assist them moving forward. The last thing I wanted to say is just the biggest thing that we're trying to do, whether it was throughout COVID or whether it's with all these different policy pieces or just doing daily operations, is we're just really trying to, like I said, be that great convener, bringing the people together. That's something that a chamber does naturally, and we've really taken an active approach on, and we're going to continue to do. So with that, I will conclude my update. And Alicia, I'm happy to turn it back over for you to share some more great things that are going on.
Thanks so much, Drew. And I just want to give kudos to Drew because, as he mentioned, he definitely has worked to ensure that he's very forward thinking of what the workforce has to look like and ensuring that we are able to work from home if we need to or continue to take care of our home life so that we can focus on work while we're here. And so I know that that is something that is challenging for a lot of businesses, and it definitely probably will take some practice, some really thinking outside of the box in order to do that. But I would highly encourage you to just look at what that would look like for your business. And if you need to chat with somebody, let me know. I am working to kind of get a toolkit together and maybe some more professionals behind us that could help companies look at what it means to have a flexible work schedule or any other amenities, just so that when we move forward, we are able to meet our workforce where they are to try to help our labor pool. So with that, though, I'm just going to give you a couple of quick updates here on our ACT. We'll chat a little bit about our future professional development opportunities. And then right now, though, before I jump into those, I'm going to chat with you about your apprenticeship programs. And so, if you're not aware, you can register yourself for a registered apprenticeship program, and we can help promote that for you through the chamber. As well as when you have your job postings on our job board, you can indicate that as an apprenticeship program. For these programs, there really isn't a lot to them. You can kind of run the program how you need. There are just individuals at IWD that can help assist you with the information that you need and how to get that program going so that you can really hire a candidate and train them as they kind of learn that profession with your business. And it really does help with retention. So if you're interested in that at all and you're not very familiar with the apprenticeship program, please do reach out to me. Also, with our job board, hopefully you guys are all posted and all of your open availability on our job board. We do have quite a few individuals that are looking at that weekly. We typically run about 800 views of our job board a week, as well as those jobs push out to our social media page. We have a job board social media page that has over 500 followers. And new, we also have a job seeker subscription to our weekly e-newsletter. And in that e-newsletter, we are sending them a link to the job board, some professional development opportunities that they have personally, some education opportunities that they may have, and we are including any flyers for work, for hiring, for job fairs, or any apprenticeship programs that you have. So if you guys are hiring and you have a flyer, please send those to me by Friday, and they will be included in that following Monday's e-newsletter. Currently, I believe we have 45 subscribers to that, but we are working on increasing that number. We will be targeting some very specific areas of where individuals might be going to find employment, as well as working with IWD, who is going to start handing out a flyer about that job subscription to anybody on unemployment. So hopefully we will be able to get a higher following for that. I also want to share with you that there is an employment survey that went out through the radio stations recently, and this morning I received the information back on what our residents are saying that they will need to either come back into the workforce or to switch jobs in the workforce. So I will have that available soon. It will live on our website for a while, but if you would like me to send you that survey directly, please shoot me an email and I will make sure to get that over to you. A couple of quick things to chat with you about just because they're not really ready to go yet. As Drew mentioned, we do have a couple of programs that we are hoping to roll out soon that will kind of work towards that brain gain challenge that we had. How do we create more education opportunities for our residents and get them into the workforce? So one that we're really excited about is our upskilling program. We are working with IWCC and their education to employment opportunities. And we're going to kind of provide some wraparound services to that opportunity and have some cohorts that are very specific in career paths. So the first one that we're working to roll out would be a CNA program. And so we'll help them on the front end with any barriers they may have with taking that course. Then they will go ahead and go through that course. It's only a 2-week course. On the back side of it, we are going to work with them to make sure that they have a resume, make sure that they have a LinkedIn profile, and that the profile looks great. We are going to provide them with a 1-year subscription to LinkedIn Learning so that they can continue to learn and grow through their new career. We will also provide them with some vouchers so that they can ensure that they have the right attire for their first interviews. And then lastly, and probably most importantly, is we are going to work with our members to ensure that they are guaranteed a minimum 1 interview from somebody in that field that will hire them. So for example, the CNA program, I believe that there are probably 3 to 4 members right now that are looking to join us in that program and that are saying, yes, I promise if you put somebody through this CNA cohort, we will interview them at bare minimum. And then if we do not hire them, we're going to give them some very specific reasons as to why they were hired so that in their next interview they can do a better job. So we're going to help them with actual employers, coaching them through actually landing a job. So we're excited about that. We are still working out some of the details, but hopefully we'll have those applications available in July. So stay tuned for some details on that. Next program that we're working on, and we're just at the very, very beginnings, but we want to work also with Omaha Chamber in creating a women's returnship. So there are a lot of women that leave the workforce because they are childbearing, or especially during COVID because of the lack of schooling or childcare that was available to them. And so what can we do as a community to help those women feel comfortable getting back into the workforce? And so we're trying to work on a program where they would get paid, but they would intern with a business that would then hopefully offer them an interview at the end of it if the position was available. But at bare minimum, it would give them a chance to jump back into a career that they already had previously, that they have experience in, so they can get updated on any new policies or industry changes that have happened. make sure that there aren't any career gaps on their resume, and then also just kind of get back into the network of knowing who is still in the industry and what channels they may have to get back into the workforce. So we'll hopefully have some information on that within a few months. That was originally a program that the Memphis Chamber started. And so after chatting with them, they've shared a lot of information, and we are just trying to mold that into the Metro to make sure that that fits our community. Wanted to give a couple of quick shout outs to some individuals that we have on the call and some other programs that the Chamber is partnering with. We are working with Lemonade for Life, and Karen is on the call. She did speak at one of our lunch and learns, and really what Lemonade for Life is teaching businesses how to recognize any ACEs and their associates. So ACEs, of course, are things that don't only just happen to you as a child, but they carry through with you through your adult life. And so as employers, what can we be doing to provide resources and tools and support for our associates so that they know that we're here for them and they can kind of work through those problems in their personal life, making them more productive at work and hopefully helping them stay employed. So if you guys are interested in listening to that presentation, please let me know or let Karen know. She's on here. I can always share your contact information with her contact information with you. She would love to jump on a call with you and your team and kind of give you that presentation. Another program that we're working on, and Karen is actually in this program as well, as our Healthy Hometowns. What can we do on our work sites to try to provide more healthy options for our associates, whether that be eating better, moving more, just feeling better in general. So we do have some committees that are started with that. If you're interested, that is actually a 712 initiative program. And we are just kind of helping with that worksite part here at the Chamber. So if you're interested, please let me know, and I can definitely give you some contact information to Julie Woods with 712, or invite you to the next meeting that we have, which I believe will be in July. We did start recently a child care coalition. And so with that, we were just working on 6 different sectors that might be affecting our community when it comes to child care. And so we would love for some additional businesses to join us as we kind of look at what we can do as a community to fix the child care crisis that we have right now. So again, if you guys are interested in childcare, if you know childcare is affecting your workplace and you want to learn more, please let me know and I can send you some information or invite you to one of those meetings. And then lastly, before I jump into the ACT, I just wanted to let everybody know that we do have a young professionals group. It is our Impact CV group. It is now free for any of your associates. So if you are a member of the Chamber, all of your associates are actually members of the Chamber, and they are welcome to join any of our events or networking events that we have. Impact CB is a great opportunity for them to network with young professionals and also to be provided with some professional development opportunities monthly. So if you're interested in that, either reach out to Sarah Beth in our office, or you can jump online and click on our Impact CB link to find out more information and get them registered. So with that being said, we are going to talk in more depth today about ACT and what it means to be a work-ready community. But I did want to show you here that we have hit all of our goals that we have except for fulfilling our employer goal. So we need 128 employers to say that they understand what the NCRC is and that they will recognize it if an applicant walks through the door and says that they have their NCRC. So we have 96 businesses locally that have said that they understand what the NCRC is and that they will recognize it on an application. So we just have a few more. If you're interested in joining that, please do just click here on workreadycommunities.org. If you want to go directly to Potawatomi County, you can do /IA/155. On to our last thing to chat about before I turn it over to our sponsor, Children's Square, is our professional development workshops. So we have had a couple of new and emerging leadership workshops that were highly attended. Those are our 4-part workshops. So they will join us every Wednesday of a month from noon to 4. And those are we've partnered with Business Ethics Alliance, who actually created the program and then runs the program for us. And we did work with them on another professional development opportunity, which is our next level leadership. That is actually intended for our C-suite leadership. It really looks at the 5 stages of leadership. So what stage are you at currently? And what can you do to kind of elevate yourself to that next level of leadership? And then the next day of that workshop is going to look at where your leaders below you are at and what you can do to help level them up to that next level of leadership. So that is $150 if you are a member. And it will be a 2-day workshop, September 29th and 30th from 12 to 4. And that will be at the Holiday Inn. You can find registration for that on our events page. If you just click on September, you'll see the Next Level Leadership. Just click there and you can register. You can either pay up front or we can send you an invoice. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Viv with Children's Square, who actually has a great program to chat with you about today. Viv, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to join you on today, and I appreciate being the sponsor for today's meeting. So on behalf of Children's Square, we wish you a great summer. And I do want to let you all know that we have a water outage today. And so I was just a couple minutes late getting on the Zoom because we were looking at, okay, what happened and why, but it's a neighborhood outage. It's not just us, it's the whole entire neighborhood. So it's really quite interesting around here right now. I'm going to share a PowerPoint with you. So I'm going to share my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. What I'm going to talk to you about today, first of all, is just a little bit about Children's Square, but also about employee engagement through volunteering. First of all, Children's Square is almost 140 years old. And our role in the Council Bluffs community and also into Omaha is really to provide emergency services for children and their families. So when a family is facing a crisis, we have a safe place for those children to come to have a safe environment where we can care for them. And then we work with the family to get them back on their feet again. We work with law enforcement. We work with juvenile justice systems, and our goal is to really encourage those children, give them the skills they need, give them the tools they need to be happy, wholesome, and effective in their lives. And we do that with the families, as I mentioned. We also have a daycare on campus, and actually the daycare was the first daycare in Council Bluffs. So many, many years ago, our child care center opened up and was the first one in Council Bluffs. So that's just a little bit of trivia for you on today. Another cool feature about Children's Square is that we offer foster care, adoption. We have a school on our campus. We have a specialty in working with children who have behavior and mental health issues. That is something that is something that's needed in our community, but not just our community. It's needed in other communities as well. I see somebody making a comment about the child care center, and that they were very happy with the child care center here at Children's Square. Thank you for that comment. We have a wonderful children's center. The staff love the children. We have people come in from our campus that their job for an hour is to just rock babies, give them that cuddled feeling so that they feel safe and secure. It's just one of the cool features of what we do here. So if you haven't been to the campus, I would invite you over to take a tour. There's a lot more about Children's Square that I could share that we don't have time to do on today. The second piece of information I'd like to talk about is the role of volunteerism with our employees in our companies. All of us represent various companies or perhaps nonprofits. One of the things that we know is that volunteers can play a significant role in an organization. What I'd like to talk to you today about is 4 key aspects of that in terms of benefits and engagement. The Gallup organization did a study regarding engagement and how employees feel at work. I'm just going to talk about that. And this is important because we want our employees to be engaged. Engaged employees are more productive, they're more satisfied at work, and engaged employees are going to give 110%. So in their study, they surveyed 50,000 employees across the country. And what they found is that employees who were engaged were 3.9 times higher to have higher earnings potential and more engagement in their company and lower turnover rates. Right now, we know that hiring individuals into organizations is a struggle. And what we want to look at as organizations is how do we retain our staff? How do we attract more staff? Volunteering is one way to do that because when employees feel engaged, they're more likely to stay with your organization. So Gallup did they did many studies, but one in particular evaluated employees who felt engaged and what that translated into in terms of productivity, turnover, and just overall success in the organization. And as I'm going through these slides, please feel free to comment, or if you have a question, you don't have to wait till the end. So as I mentioned, we know that in volunteering gives opportunity for that employee to give back to the community on behalf of the organization. And we know that that's a part of building community. It's a part of goodwill on behalf of organizations to have those employees giving back and doing that volunteer work. And for the employee, they're going to gain a sense of satisfaction. How many of you have volunteered for your employer or while you're working at your particular company? How many of us have volunteered? Raise your hand. I know I have, probably most of the people on this call. So how did you feel when you were volunteering?
You guys can feel free to unmute yourself if you want to chat.
Unmute yourself. How did you feel when you were doing that volunteer experience?
So somebody said great in the chat box there, Viv. And then somebody said, Jana said that she loves the concept. And Angie said that she felt great when she volunteered.
Great, thank you for translating that for me. Definitely, you get a great feeling when you volunteer because you know you're making a difference. And as employers, and all of us are employers on this call, we want our employees to have that opportunity to give back because one, it helps that organization that needs volunteers. Two, it helps your organization and gives you more visibility in the community. And three, those employees are going to walk away with great feelings about that experience. So in terms of benefits, we know that volunteering can help with retention. It helps us to retain those great employees that we want to hold on to so that we retain them and not have them just leaving after 6 months or 8 months. We want to have those volunteer experiences because studies show that when people are volunteering, they're going to be more engaged. There's a jump to number 4. I'm not quite sure why it did that, but another benefit is increased skill development. When employees are volunteering, they actually have an opportunity to develop additional skills. And they're going to learn more about the nonprofit that they're volunteering with or the organization they're volunteering with. I met with one company this morning and we were talking about bringing some of their employees over to Children's Square to volunteer. We get a lot of companies that approach us about do we have volunteer work for their team of employees? Sometimes it's 10 people, sometimes it's 5 or just 2, but we appreciate when volunteers come on. But we know also volunteers are learning skills. We have volunteers on our campus this morning. We have a large golf event happening on Monday. So we have some volunteers on site today helping to make some preparations. And if you have employees that need a place to volunteer, they're welcome to have an opportunity here at Children's Square. One of the things we try to do when people volunteer is we give them an overview of what Children's Square is all about and why this volunteer activity makes a difference. So when a volunteer comes on board, I don't want them to just come and they help for an hour or 2 or even 4 hours and then walk away and say, oh, we had a great time. I really want them to understand who Children's Square is and the role we play in the community and how they are helping us with our mission by being a volunteer. And so we get something out of that as well. But my point is those volunteers that come on board do learn different skills. Sometimes some of the projects that we have for them might be something they haven't done before. And so we give them that opportunity. And I think that employees have a great time when they come to our campus. And now we're going to point number 3. But employee retention is a huge benefit of volunteering. We saw already some of us on the call today had great feelings when they were volunteering. That translates into retention because when employees feel good about volunteering, they're likely to stay with the organization. And it looks like I'm missing one point I wanted to raise, and that is when you look at volunteering, one of the other benefits that's not on the slide for today is the fact that there are public relations benefits for the company that has the volunteers. So you're going to have one or two or more individuals from a company that come out to participate. And then in some cases, like in our case, what we try to do is promote that particular company. And we will put them on our social media page, we will put them on our Facebook page, we put them in our website so that we can promote the fact that Hy-Vee just sent 10 volunteers over to Children's Square or whatever organization it may be. So there's a huge PR piece that I think happens as well with regard to volunteering. So I don't want to underestimate that enough, but in early days of my career, did a lot of work in the volunteer area with regard to structuring volunteer programs for companies. And so I'm always pleased to see it work well when you have a volunteer management program in place. And that's what we're doing now at Children's Square, is really having a full volunteer experience where people not only come in and learn some information about volunteering, but also giving them that information about who we are and what we do and how they're helping to make a difference. I talked to another company that sent some volunteers out on a Saturday, and they were doing work outside in our park area here on campus. And one of the things that was really neat is that some of those employees that came over, and even though their employer structured the day, when employees were leaving, they said, you know what, I'm going to come back on my own time and volunteer again, because they felt so good about it. And so again, there's just huge benefits, but I believe as employers, one of the things we want to keep in mind is how to use volunteer opportunities for employees as a way to give them additional experience, but also as a way to help increase our engagement of those employees, because I think that's important as we look forward to retaining a great workforce. And so that engagement is a key piece, and volunteering is something that is very, very easy to do and to allow. So if you'd like a place for your volunteers to land on their feet, you just let me know. I'm over at Children's Square. You can send me an email at vewing@children'ssquare.org, or you can give me a call at 712-828-7454. We've got spaces on Monday for volunteers if you'd like to have some of your team members come out and have a great experience. We are having a fundraiser at Top Golf Omaha. It starts at 4:30. And we are adding a few more volunteers to our volunteer roster for Monday. So if you've got some folks, let me know and we will certainly get them acclimated and allow them to help out. What questions can I answer for you today?
If anybody has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself. You can chat with Viv about it. Just so you know, while you were chatting, Viv, Karen did say that she loves the feeling that we're making a difference in the community, and she feels so proud of volunteering. And then Angie said a sense of team building and being a part of something bigger than yourself is how they feel when they're volunteering. And those are great points. And I'm very happy that you brought up point number 2. It really is great for your business. And while it unfortunately might be looking at it as a selfish way for your business to offer volunteering, but people want to do business with those that they know, like, and trust, right? And so if you're volunteering with a group of individuals and now they know about your business and they know that your business is invested in the community, they're more likely to use yours than maybe a competitor's business in the future if they need your services. And so it is a great way to kind of spread that PR and to show the residents that you care about the community and that you care about your associates.
Absolutely. I think that volunteering is a great way for companies to really show their community responsibility, or that corporate responsibility to give back to the community. And there's a number of ways that that can happen. And we do allow employer teams to come out, as I said, or individuals can come out, and we make it a worthwhile opportunity for them. I'm really proud of the way we handle our volunteers. And some of you on this call today have had individuals from your companies come out and volunteer. So thank you for that.
And again, we want to thank Children's Square for being a sponsor of today's Lunch and Learn. We want to thank them for being an awesome place to volunteer. And then also, if you guys were not aware, they do, last I knew, you guys still had some spaces in your child care facility open. So if you have any employees that are looking for child care and that is a barrier or a struggle that they are having right now, have them reach out to Children's Square. A lot of people don't realize that you can come in off the streets and have child care provided to you through Children's Square. It is not just for the residents there or the
Oh,
workers.
absolutely. We have people from all across the community that come in to bring their children here for educare and childcare. And it's a great curriculum. I've been over there many, many times to see what's happening in our classrooms for children. And what I love to see is the love that the staff have for these children. It's not just a job. They actually care for these children and feel like it's an extension of their own family. When they're little, they put them in little buggies. We have a 4-person buggy, a 6-person buggy, and an 8-person buggy. So the kids get to come out and stroll through the campus in their buggy. And it's just so neat to see.
Well, thank you so much, Viv. Are these slides available that I might send them out to anybody on the call this afternoon?
Right. I'm going to put it back in order because I saw where one slide jumped ahead when it wasn't supposed to do that. But I will certainly get that to you, Alicia, and you can send that out to the group today. And then I do have to jump off early. As I said, we have a major golf event on Monday, and we've got volunteers on site, and I need to give them some additional projects to work on. And if you have an extra hour, come on over. You can help us.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Viv. And I'll make sure to share your contact information on these slides with everybody this afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day today. Bye.
Viv, can you stop sharing your screen? Oh, she did stop. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Viv.
Okay.
I appreciate it. And with that, we are going to turn it over to Ed with ACT, and he's going to talk to you a little bit more about the program and the fact that it is free for participants to take the NCRC, and it is free for you to say that you are a recognized business and help support Potawatomi County and our initiative to become a work-ready community. With that, Ed, you can share your screen as well.
Okay. All right. Is everybody seeing my screen?
We do.
Beautiful. Come on. There we go. Okay. Let's back up. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. My name is Ed Conard. I work for ACT in Iowa City, Go Hawks, here in Iowa, which is actually where our headquarters is located. I'm actually coming to you from my sister-in-law's house because, like Viv, she had water problems. I had electrical issues. They did some routine maintenance this morning and turned off all the power for everyone in my my area, which probably encompasses about 8 houses because I live in the middle of nowhere. But I had to run over to my sister-in-law's houses and jump on this for the time being. One thing I will say is, although I do work for ACT, I have for about 20 years now. I do not handle the ACT high school and college entrance exam test. I actually handle our workforce products, which is WorkKeys, and another product that actually supports WorkKeys called Curriculum. It's training, basically module-based online training for the WorkKeys tests themselves. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the tests themselves, and we'll go over all of the tests because WorkKeys is actually a family of tests. I will then talk a little bit about profiling, which is an aspect of WorkKeys that you do or do not have to do. It's totally up to you, and it kind of is really about what works best for you. All of our workforce products at ACT do 4 things, really. We want to assess, certify, develop, and empower people in their careers or those that are looking to move into a new career. And that's really what our tests are about. The NCRC tests themselves comprise 3 of our tests. Now, there are actually 8 tests in the family. We're going to talk about the NCRC test first, and then we'll go on the other ones. The NCRC tests are applied math, graphic literacy, workplace documents. Okay. Now, why those three? We'll get into that in a little bit when we're talking more about profiling. Why we picked those three, why those three are the critical skills that you need to know. But you'll notice on the screen now, it'll show each of the tests along with what those tests really do. So example is applied math, which is really a critical thinking and mathematical reasoning test. It's identifying errors in calculations, converting systems of measurements, and calculating areas and volumes. Why is that important in the workplace? Because whether you know it or not, you're probably using some basic math every day of your life in your work. Same with the other tests that are involved with this. Your ability to read and interpret documents of the workplace, that's workplace documents. Your ability to read and interpret the pictures and the graphic literacy, if you want to call it that, of your workplace. Schematic drawings, charts, graphs, those kind of things. So those are really key skills in today's workforce. Okay. Now, these actually has been around for a number of years. In fact, I was around when we actually introduced it, I believe, in 2007. We have issued now over 5.1 million NCRCs across the US. So it's a nationally recognized certification. Very portable. It's recognized in every state in the union. We currently have over 27,000 employers that also recognize the NCRC for their hiring practices or for their promotional or training practices too. This looks like it's just a certificate that you receive. The real key to that isn't the certificate itself, it's really what lies behind it. The NCRC is based on really 4 levels. Okay, so you take the work keys test, those 3 work keys tests, and you get your scores. And depending on how you do on your scores, that determines the level of your certificate. You use the medallion system, kind of like the Olympics. So bronze, silver, gold. Gold's the best. Well, actually today, platinum's the best, but gold in the old days was the best. Silver, and then bronze was your entry level, your third place one. What those really speak to, and what they really are getting at, is what I'm going to talk about now that has to do with job profiling. So over the course of the last, say, 25 years, that's how long work keys have been around, an aspect of our product is something called job profiling. That's what we call it. It's really a job analysis. It's where someone goes, either our staff or someone that we've trained to do this, go on site at a business. They view and they work with the folks doing a specific job. We call those people subject matter experts. We then do our magic, basically, and at the end of the employer gets, and the folks are on site with the employers from somewhere between 2 and say 4 days, depending on the skills and the tasks that are involved in a job. Okay, so they're there for a while. At the end of that, the employer gets a number of things. One of them is basically a package of assessments that are in the work keys family, and attainable scores, or cut scores if you want to call them that, to enter into that position and to really master or be proficient at that position. Okay, now what's the beauty of all that? Well, 2 things. One, you get benchmarks that are based on your job. We map these things down to the ONET code, and so you receive your you can actually look up on our database and see the ONET code for every profile we've done ever. It also, so you get those, and the benchmarks, they are specific to your job. So even though it's accountant, for example, and we've done a bunch of these, it is specific to your accountants, because while accounting is similar, there are certain things that make it different across companies, across areas or businesses. So things like that. Second thing that is a huge benefit with profiling is when you have a profile done, it's EEOC compliant. So you can't be sued, or you could be sued, but you're probably going to win. Okay. Now, number one thing I always get asked is, by businesses especially, is, so what do I do? Do I get a profile, or can I use something else? Can I just pick some tests and do it? Can I use your NCRC and do it that way? What do I do? Right. And the answer I always give to businesses when I'm working with them is this. If the only reason that person is sitting across the desk from you in your interview is based on how he or she did on the tests, you probably want a profile, because one, you get the benchmarks specific to your job, right? Two, you have that protection of EEOC compliancy, okay? Now, if it's a piece of the puzzle, that's a different story. That's something else. The bare minimum of what WorkKeys provides you as an employer is really information about the person, okay? And here's how that works. Let's jump back to the NCRC, the National Career Readiness Certificate. Remember earlier I mentioned we had done over 22,000 of job profiles in the course of ACT's WorkKeys product? Well, the NCRC is based off of that. What we found when we did some internal research on our own things was over 90% of those jobs in that database, so 20,000 of them, let's say, have three core skills involved with them. And it's those three tests that are part of the NCRC certificate package, okay? Really, the medallion levels speak to the individual's ability to be successful at a percentage of those jobs, okay? So for example, the bronze certificate means someone can do 17% of them, or roughly 3,000 jobs within that database. Silver is the big jump. It means you can do roughly 69% of them, or over 15,000, okay? And then gold is 93%. Platinum is virtually every one of them. We'll say 99% because there are a few that actually required a level 7 on that. You get your certificate based on your scores. 3s equal bronze, 4s equal silver, 5s equal gold, 6 equals platinum. And it's the lowest score that determines your certificate. So if you get scored like a 5, and a 3, you're still a bronze because of that 3. Okay. Now it's easy to improve your certificate level, because all you have to do is take the test that you got the 3 on, and if you improve that, you go up. Your tests follow you for life. Okay. Oh, come on. Sorry. Come on, baby. There we go. Back of the certificate, and the individual scores are printed on the back, so they have that. They have a blurb about the NCRC, and then specific characteristics of the tests and their test scores that they received. Okay. Now, there are 6 total foundational skills or cognitive skills tests in the WorkKeys family. And there's 2 personality tests, or studies is really what we call them. So there's 8 total tests in the family. We just went over 3 of them, the ones that make up the NCRC. The other 3 I'll touch on here. They're applied technology, workplace observation, and business writing. Okay. They measure the skills that are noted on the screen here. They've been a part of our family for a number of years. Workplace observation is probably the newest of the kids. I think we introduced that in 2013. Okay. And they measure different skills. Applied technology is really primarily based around electricity, mechanics, fluid dynamics, thermodynamics, things like that. Workplace observation is exactly what it says. It's your ability to observe in workplace scenarios. It's actually a very hard test. I did some of the studies. I was involved in the study for developing the test. And when I first took the test, I scored a 2 out of a total of 5. And so, of course, I had to question the scoring mechanism because I've never scored that low on any of our tests before. Business writing is a communication really test. It's your ability to write in a workplace scenario. So basically, you're given a prompt, write a memo to your boss to do this, blah, hit it. And then it measures you on your grammar, but primarily really on your organizational skills, your communication skills, How are you getting your ideas across? That's what it's measuring you on. Okay. The other two tests are talent and fit. These are behavioral tests, or really interest inventory is really what the fit test is. The beauty of these two tests is, one, they don't have to be proctored. So you can give them to really anyone, anywhere, anytime. Okay. The other 6 foundational skills tests, they do need to be proctored. We want that for security and safety of the test. But these, you do not have to proctor them any longer. That's a recent change we made. Now, talent is basically an untimed assessment that takes roughly 30 minutes to go through. It's just, it's based on a Likert scale. You get 165 prompts, but they're short little statements basically. And it's the, I agree, I disagree, I kind of agree. That's that thing. It's a 5-point Likert scale. What it's doing is it's helping an employer find and develop employees by measuring their work-related attitudes and behaviors. So this is more on your softer skills or your SEL side of the world. Now, kind of the big thing today in today's world, especially with SEL and folks like that, is the 5-factor model. I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but it's basically 5 behavioral items that have been deemed as being critical in a person's development. Those 5 are on the screen there. On the left-hand side, it's openness, conscientiousness, emotional stability, agreeableness, extroversion. Talent measures that on other items, but they map directly over. So like openness maps to creativity. Conscientiousness is your carefulness, your order. We're actually mapping to multiple things, while the 5-factor model is mapping to just 5 things. We're mapping to 12. Okay, so it's a little bit more, but they do cross right over, and so there's no issues there. Now the fit assessment is really an interest inventory. Okay, person takes it and it's measuring them in 2 different ways. It's 102 questions, or items, I should say. Probably take them 15-20 minutes to get through. Again, doesn't have to be proctored, it's untimed, but really it's about a 20-minute deal. It measures their individuals' interests and values, and it matches them in their work environment. Okay, that's really what it's trying to do. It's measuring them on 2 different things. It does, one, an interest inventory, which is based on those 5 things. And second thing it does, it measures their work values, and it does an inventory on that, which are those 7 things. Okay, so those are the 2 personality tests that we do. Again, work keys in itself is a family of 8 tests. 6 of them are cognitive skills or foundational skill tests. 2 of them personality studies. Okay, they map into the NCRC with those 3 tests. Again, the NCRC is based on your ability to be able to do the jobs that we've profiled over the history of work keys. And the one thing I forgot to mention earlier is we cover within that database, and I can send you the database because we keep it right on our website. But within that database of those profiles, we cover all career clusters there are, and over 90% of the jobs in the US today. Okay, so it is a wide and big a database of information for you to use. It includes the ONET codes for those jobs. It includes the minimum entry skills needed, along with the cut scores or the attainable scores needed. It shows the mastery scores needed. It does all of that, and it's right in that database. It's a wonderful thing, a tool to use if you're ever interested in just looking at what should my jobs look like, something like that. Now, here's what it is. Here's what it looks like. This is the Job Pro database. This is actually a screenshot from our website. Again, it's just basically a search engine. You just go in and you search for the job title or the career cluster it falls under. You can go by job description. If you have the ONET code, you can throw that in there, although I doubt anyone would because those ONET codes are quite large. What you get back is something like, here's one for the nursing assistant. Here's its ONET code. You can link straight into the ONET groups. Here's the career cluster that's under, and here are the scores and the tests needed. So you've got a median level, a minimum level, and a maximum skill level. You'll notice there are some differences in there. So it's like entry level versus mastery level. Sometimes there are changes, sometimes there are not. Okay. Shows the tests that they took or that they were profiled for, and those attainable scores that the person should meet. Okay. Now, finally, this is just a little thing I throw on the end at most of these types of conversational pieces. We have this for every one of our career clusters that we've done. This is just a snapshot of one of them. And basically, it's kind of a study we did a few years ago. I think it was in 2019. And it was really looking forward out to 2029 for job growth. And so we have fastest growing sectors right over here, and then your fast growing sectors. So kind of the really hot stuff, and then there's the hot stuff. The occupation, your median skill levels needed by test, the median wage for the individual, because this is really geared at the individual. And as we all know, people like to make a lot of money. So they want to know what's this gonna, if I do this, what's it gonna pay me? And the projected number of position openings until 2029. You notice it was 2019 to 2029. And so this really shows it helps individuals who are kind of, well, I want to get into a job where I know I can get, or I can find employment, right? Well, look at something like this. And not only can you know that this is going to be a fast moving job, say like your software developers, gee, yeah, there's going to be a ton of jobs out there for them, but they also make some pretty good cash. Okay, and so that's a nice thing to have, and I can give this to anyone. I can get it from our research group if you're interested in it. So, any questions?
If you guys have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself. And then Ed, just so we can see everybody's faces a little larger, would you mind stop sharing? Show of hands, who is already registered, or you can put a thumbs up. You can use little reaction icons in the bottom corner. Thumbs up, or you can click yes over in the side box if you have registered your business as a work-ready business. So if you have not, we would love for you to do that. Again, like Ed said, it's a win-win. There are not many things in life that are as good as they sound, but this is one that it is. It's free for you to use. And it's free for you. Like, there's a good chance that there's either a profile that's super close to your job that you could probably go in and at least say like what that job is requiring for those workers, so that you start to hire the right associates out the gate. Especially if you have a lot of entry level or median level positions that are available. I know when I speak with businesses, those are the top two levels that have the highest turnover. This is a great way to ensure that your workers have those skills that they need out the gate, so that you're hiring them right. And I'll tell you, if you hire somebody that's not right for the job, you can guarantee within 2 weeks that those people are going to leave, because they are going to be frustrated, they're going to be overwhelmed, and they're going to hate that job. They are not ready for it. They do not understand it. That is not a happy work-life balance. And so this is really a way for you to ensure that they are a happy fit. It's also a great way, like Ed mentioned, for you to promote your associates. If you start, you can become a recognized, which is easy to do. But then if you become a recommended, you're actually asking people, like the Council Bluffs Community School District. Thank you to Lisa for bringing that up. The Council Bluffs Community School District does ask every associate to first go take their NCRC before they will hire them on to work for the school district. And so it's a great way for you as an employer or for your workers to say, hey, listen, I'm ready for that next step, right? Because they can go back and take this test whenever they want, how often they want, and then bring that back to you, their employer, and say, hey, look, I've leveled up. I've done some studying. I've done what I've needed to be ready for that next level. So I do hope that if you guys are not registered, that you will register for us or with us and get that taken care of. Look at those ONETs. ONET online is free. If you guys are not familiar with any of those websites, fear not. I have a resource page for employers on our website. Click there. It's got ONET on there for you. It's got the NCR, or it's got the work keys link on there. You can kind of check out all of those avenues yourself. Anybody have?
And I just put a couple things in chat, Alicia. The registration for the business form And, also just clarifying that any business can sign on as supporting Pot County's effort in becoming a work-ready community. This is, again, just emphasizing it doesn't mean you have to use WorkKeys. By registering, it just simply means that you've now been educated on what WorkKeys and the NCRC, the certificate is, that you would recognize that if a job seeker brought that into a business, and that you support, the effort. So sometimes that's misleading and means, oh, we have to use it, we're not going to sign up. But it also means that you are supporting Alicia and the chambers, well, the entire team, their effort in becoming certified. You only need 32, is that right? 32 more employers.
That's it. So if
And
you are signed up, tell a coworker, tell a friend, tell another business that you work with, a colleague, let them know it's this awesome thing
exactly.
that's done for our community. Sign up. And then after we are certified, correct sure that we will be able to receive some additional information about our county and where everybody sits. Is that true?
That's exactly right. You'll be able to have a deeper dive into the data and reports, and you'll be the third county in Iowa to become a fully certified work-ready community, which is a way to really tout your county and showcase your workforce development effort. And Site Selection Magazine, which is a national site consultant organization, looks at that website to see which counties are certified. And it's another way to really be able to showcase your talent pool on a national scale. You'll receive a badge that says you're a work-ready community. You'll be recognized at our annual summit, which is going to be virtual this year. More information to come on that. But any counties that become certified during the calendar year, we recognize them with an award and a shout out, and we'll help you promote that effort.
I appreciate that.
Do they already have estimators part of being the work-ready community, or once they achieve the work-ready community, is that when they get estimator?
No, they already have it. At least you can log into our dashboard and it's there. The link is there. So it's free for work-ready communities. So
an estimator, guys, is kind of a profiling tool. So it's kind of the first step in if you think of stepping stones, it's the first step in profiling. So you might not need to have a full-on job profile done, but you want something more than just kind of throwing darts at the wall. Estimator is a wonderful tool for that, and it's free to these guys for being part of the work-ready community.
So you guys help me out, and so that I can help you, right? Help me help you. Do you guys have jobs you're hiring for? Give me a call. Let me know. I will jump into that estimator. I will look at that for you. Not to mention, I just do want to plug this, and I know that some people had to jump off this after 12, and so I apologize if they didn't get to hear everything, but we have over 5,000 residents in Council, you guys, that are NCRC holders. How amazing is that? There are 5,000, there's a potential of 5,000 residents that can walk through the door and tell you that they are NCRC'd, and you can see where they're sitting at in life. Now, mind you, that's 5,000. There's only 30,000 people in Pottawatomie County that are in the workforce. And so a fifth of them have the NCRC. So really, our residents are doing their half. As employers, we need to do our part to make sure, not only for us, but for them, that we're hiring them for the right position when they walk through the door. And who knows, maybe you're hiring for more than one position, and they come in and they apply for one, and they're not quite there yet, right? Like they don't have the right level that you need for them to be successful, but you're hiring for another position that you know, because you've already looked at the job profile, you know they would be successful there, and you say to them, hey, why don't we put you here, and then maybe we can move you up later. So just a thought. Ed, are you able to send me that PowerPoint as well so I can send that off to everybody?
Yep. Once I get back to my house, I'll send it off to you so you get it this afternoon sometime.
Perfect. Not a whole lot of people are left on, but I will be sending out everybody's contact information, the slides that were on there today. Encourage anybody to come next month. Next month we'll be in person. It's going to be at the Holiday Inn. If you guys have an 8:30 food, it's amazing. You guys should come. I'll have a really good lunch for us. Bring a colleague.
What's the date of that?
That is a great question. Let's see here. The next one is going to be July 15th.
Thank you.
You are welcome. And also, I know it sounds crazy, but I'm getting ready to start planning 2022. So if there is something that you want to hear on these calls, please let me know, and I will do my best to make sure we get them lined up. As well as I am always trying to create some professional development workshops. If there is a specific workshop or skill set or development that you're like, gosh, I really wish somebody would just help me with this, let me know. Of course, being a chamber, we've got a lot of connections. I will figure that out. We will get you information. Bye, Sherry. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And then lastly, if you guys have workshops that you would be interested in, if they're just like a 1 day or 2 hours, let me know. We could have one-off workshops. For example, one that I'm trying to find right now and work on would be a job description and requirements workshop. Getting together with a professional to reevaluate what our job descriptions and requirements are, so that we start to be forward thinking about those things, and we stopped having maybe some job profiles, because they've been copied over and then just changed for that position, are a little bit biased maybe when it comes to racial identity or gender identity. They sound a little bit weighted to one side. And so just thinking about that and having that on there, making sure that you are not losing out on a huge pool of talent because the talent is looking at your application or at your job profile and saying, I don't feel like there's going to be anybody that looks like me at this job. I don't feel like this is going to be a culture that I'm going to fit in or be happy in because of the way that your job description looks. So that is one that I will have hopefully soon. And I actually meeting with somebody this afternoon to hopefully run that workshop for us. So stay tuned for that. But anything of those natures, please let me know and I will work on getting them for you.
Can I ask one quick question of Ed on the testing? Thanks.
Sure.
You mentioned several of the tests are proctored. How
Yes.
would someone go about scheduling that test?
So basically in Iowa, we work with Iowa Workforce Development. And so they do the proctoring for us. And so the folks just show up at the individual offices and they're given the test there and they proctor it for us.
They have specific
Great.
dates too that they offer the NCRC, and I just have been getting calendars from Iowa Workforce. I know their doors are open, but just remind people that they might want to, or suggest to people to call before you go.
Yeah, they're
just in
getting
case.
their workshops back up. They haven't quite got there yet. And also, Karen, if you call, if you or somebody maybe you have a company that you work with that hires a lot, IWD can actually work with maybe somebody in their leadership team or management team to get them proctored to get the test. So, for example, when IWD was down, I worked with their associate, and he gave me like the training and tools so that I could proctor those tests if I needed to. So, just so you know, that's
Okay.
awesome. Well, I know the Council Community School District, Tammy was on for a little bit earlier. Tammy is also able to get those tests. So,
Great, thanks.
all right, guys. Thanks for joining. And I will send you guys out a whole bunch of information later. I appreciate it, and I hope to see you all in person next month. If not, when you register, you can click that you would like a Zoom link, and that will get sent to you. So, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.